This video is going to show you how to get started with Quikflw's contracts module. This module enables you to manage things like support contracts, maintenance contracts, recurring income such as licenses and backups, warranty for products you sell, and also leases. The big benefit of this is that you can then automate emails from the dates on the contract so that your client is notified before the contract comes to an end, and also your salespeople as well, and also afterwards. So if the customer doesn't renew, you could notify the operations team to let them know to remove the client from the operations system. So let's get started. You can find the contracts in the modules contracts. It's a separate add-in to all the other modules, so you need to speak to us if you haven't got that to have a free trial. It's the same principle as all the others. You've got statuses which you can adjust, and you can move items through by dragging and dropping. All of your settings can be set from the cog in contract settings. The reality is you'll probably start a contract from a quote. So let's go to a quote. And here's one I've set up earlier. I've got a few items on that quote that I'm quoting for the support of, and the maintenance. The client has come back and said they want to go ahead. I click this button here, create contract, and it copies the details over to the contract. I can then add in the details that are relevant for the contract. So I've got contract type, which I can set in the system settings. So this is going to be an annual contract. The billing type. So the difference here between item totals and fixed total is that the item totals will generate an invoice every month based on the number of items. So for example, if it's a license of software and the number of users varies from month to month, it will use whatever the number of users are at the end of each month. The fixed price will enable you to put in one price and then split it over the duration of the contract. Contract period. So for example, yearly, up to next year. Apply that, and we're good to go. Next, we'll set up the invoicing. So click on here for auto invoicing. So we're going to generate an invoice every month, for example, and we can select the day that we're going to invoice, and when the next invoice date is, and when the final invoice date will be as well. So I'm going to swap this back to item totals. Then this box here vanishes, and it'll take the totals from here for the service. Next, we want to get the client to sign for the contract. So if we go to preview, and the same as the other system, you have the option of swapping over the template. So here's a simple contract, which is a maintenance contract, where it just lists the name of the items to be maintained or serviced. But if I want to swap over to another one, which is which has got item prices, for example, I can do this. And then I can email this to the client, and they can then review that and sign it online. So they will see this screen here, which they can then accept by putting in their digital signature. They can confirm their agreement to the contract, and you can hold that in the system. And finally, schedule messages. Once a contract has been created, if you set them up, reminder emails are generated and associated to the contract. So here I've got 4 set up. The first one is telling the client that their contract is expiring in a month. So let's have a look at that. I've set it so it will trigger 31 days before the end date of the contract, and it will send at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it will send it to the client with the details here, and this is what it'll look like. I can set up several, so I've set up one for 1 month in advance of the end, one for a week before, and then I've also set up one here that is sent, instead of being sent to the client, so it's sent to the salesperson. And finally, this one here can be sent to, for example, the ops team, and that will tell them that the contract is no longer valid, and it can give them the details where they can then click on that and action in that system. So this module is a great way of managing your contracts and your warranties and leasing, and automating the communication with your clients and your staff to let them know what's happening.